I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to start with a moment of silence and like to remember a couple retired county employees that's passed away in the last month. We had Jack Rogers last month and also Jack Kroll. Both of them probably had 30 years in and enjoyed a little retirement, but Jack was responsible for building maintenance.
Actually, Jack Rogers runs for county commissioner.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
He retired from, yeah. And then Jack, I think, retired in about 2015 or 14.
Yeah,
but
something
anyway,
like that.
But anyway, all right. On a roll call, all three commissioners are present. I'd like to open up the public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, come forward, state your name and address.
My name is William Trower, and I live 16676 Donahue Road, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. It seems like we was in a phase 1, and phase 1 has been changed to a phase 2. And there's 27 houses on our road, and there's 2 girls that refused to sign, and one girl said that she called the commissioners down in the road department and wanted them to come out and show her where the 10-foot easement would be that they want. And she said they told her just to get a 10-foot tape, measure 10 foot, and that was it. So that upset her, so she refused to sign it, and she talked her sister out in Abilene, refused to sign it. So one lives in Oskaloosa and the other one lives in Abilene, and neither one of them live in the house. Nobody's lived in there since Floyd Ebert passed away. Mm-hmm. And Floyd had signed to give his permission to have the road oiled or chip and sealed or asphalt, whatever it was going to be. So that's what we're here, and we didn't know nothing about it. They had changed the plans till, what was it, a day before New Year's, and we didn't have enough time to try to talk to these 2 girls to see if we couldn't get them to change their mind.
Okay, there's 2, according to this, there's 2 phases. It's not just groups.
Right.
150 Donahue to 150 or 155th to 167th. Well, there is no 167th Street on Donahue. So it's in group 2. It's going to go the first half mile because there's 8 numbers to a mile, and it'd be 163rd to 167th, be half a mile.
I'm not sure on.
Yeah. Well, there's no 167th Street.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Commissioner, there is a dirt road in between there. Maybe that's what they call 167th.
No, that's up there by Schellers.
Yes.
No, that's 172nd, changed to 174th.
Oh, that's the dirt road there?
Yeah. Okay. Minimum maintenance field road.
Right.
Right.
But we want to know if we can get an easement on this thing to get this done, or we can...
Well, according to this, it's in, I don't know why we went to groups. We were in phases. Now it's group 1, group 2. I kind of like the phases myself. 155th to 167th is in a group. It's complete. So 167th, where's another Ebert?
Yeah, but a distant relation.
I know. So you're right at a half a mile from 160. Okay. So according to this, that's the way it looks like it's going to happen.
I know when they from the start, that's how they discussed it, that there were two portions of this project, whether you call it a phase or a group. That is how it was discussed, and even when they had the meeting at the library down in Baser, that's how it was discussed. So that's my understanding, but without having Public Works here, I wouldn't want to say 100% that's their intent. As far as, not meeting with them, I think they have met with several people along that road. They've had a public meeting. So I'd be a little surprised that they wouldn't be willing to meet with someone out there, but certainly we can make that arrangement if need be, to have someone go out there and show them, whoever it is, show them where exactly that.
Well, we'd have
that
to
right
let
way
them
would be.
know, because one's in Oskaloosa and she works in Topeka, and then the other one's out in Abilene. But the one in Oskaloosa is the one that got on her high horse, because nobody would show her. They said, just take a tape measure and measure 10 foot and that's it. But
All right. Well, like I said, the first mile and a half looks like it's scheduled. I mean, it's in a group. So.
A mile and a half is perfectly acceptable.
Well, 2 miles would be better.
Right. That,
yeah, if you're going to stop at my place, you might as well go down half a mile and you're done with the whole road.
Well, we'll get
All
them
the way
sign.
down to the
that's what-
cemetery.
That's what we'd like to see done.
Just get to Sherry Ebert's driveway and we're
There
good?
you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, surely we'd go past the driveway a little bit,
That's okay, you go past it.
but, okay. Like I said, the deadline, are you gonna check with Public Works, Mark?
Yeah, I will.
about
I'll
that?
follow up. I'll make sure, I don't
Because
know if they have that
the
contact
gentleman
information or
that
not.
signed the letter of intent to donate the right-of-way passed away.
Right.
And what's it been? 2 years ago, a year ago?
Almost a year.
Almost a year? Okay. Right, it was April, wasn't it? He died in April, I believe. Okay.
This will, the PRP in general will likely be on next week's agenda, because the deadline that the board had given us was the end of the year. Obviously, with this meeting being when it is and the holidays, we couldn't have it on today. So it'll be on next week's agenda for discussion. So that'll be, I'll make sure they have answers to any of these. And if they have the contact for these two individuals, I'll make sure they reach out to them and try to schedule something with them if they need to in the next week.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
As far as that first mile and a half, you guys should be good.
Okay.
But it'd be nice to go ahead and,
Have the whole
Knock
thing
it out
done and
and-
be done with it, yes.
yeah. I don't like it when roads just drop off from blacktop to gravel.
Yeah.
They need to connect.
It's kind of like 179th where it was split. There was, on one end it was blacktop and one end it was chip
Yeah,
and seal,
just
and
had
in
to
the
fill
middle
the
it was
middle.
gravel.
Yeah. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak?
I've been sitting here for a couple of years, coming to all these meetings, and I sat here and listened to a county commission say they weren't going to do this no more. Stop and start in the middle of a road. You weren't going to make an end of a road before it tied into another road that was a chip seal, blacktop, whatever. Now it sounds like we're going to do that. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. If we're just chip sealing a road in place, we're not re-engineering nothing, what are we asking for 10-foot more easement? We're not moving anything.
These are PRP roads, and that program quit at the end of the year.
Uh-huh.
A lot of these PRP roads did not meet the criteria for traffic count, and they donated an easement, so they got something in it.
So what does
with this
10 foot
program-
do for us? Is what it do for the
Well, 50
county?
years from now, when they got to make it a Super 2, they'll come in there and they'll have the right-of-way and...
What are we worried about 50 years
I'm
from now?
not.
You and me won't be
I
alive.
am not worried about it 50 years
That's what
from
I'm
now.
saying. I think we're holding people to
think
this
we need to
10-foot
worry about it.
easement, and
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything for them or us.
Well,
Right.
Is
one
a
thing I'd
county.
point out, Glenn, is without that project, they never would have been eligible to have that road done at all. They would have had to pay for it on their own. The project allows them to get this road done at our expense, and all we're asking is that they donate the right-of-way for future expansion if needed.
I thought that's what the sales tax money was for.
Not for, it's
Not for
based on a
purchasing
priority
ground.
basis. We wouldn't go out, this road wouldn't have qualified because of the traffic count. It qualifies because of the PRP program, but it wouldn't have qualified based on traffic count. The county would have never been out there on this road doing any kind of improvement without the PRP program. So that's the difference here. If this was a road that had sufficient traffic to be on our top 20, let's say, we would go out there, we would acquire the right-of-way if needed, and if we had to purchase it, we would. But in this case, the people who live on that road came to us and asked us, as part of the PRP program, to go ahead and chip seal their road. With that program, we felt that there was a good trade-off if they donate the right-of-way and take care of any fence moving, anything else with that program, that it was a fair enough trade-off for the county to go ahead and do it, even though it didn't meet traffic count.
Well, that's the point I'm getting at. You've got the majority of the people saying, yep, we've donated you the grant, and you got two people gonna hold up a whole road.
That's how the project was
Or we're
set up,
gonna
and the
chip seal
project,
3/4 of a mile and stop.
that's how
that
the
doesn't make
project was
sense.
set up, and now that's also why the project no longer exists.
Yeah.
That PRP no longer exists. It's not a program we do anymore. These are just the final ones we're trying to clean up.
But that's what I'm saying. This 10-foot that these two ladies are holding out on giving you, they don't benefit you any. They're not doing anything for us in the near future. We're talking about 50 years from now. They might re-engineer a road and need that 10-foot easement, but they might not. So we're going to hold up a road going from one end of asphalt to another because we're waiting on 10 foot that we don't even need. To me, that's a technicality we shouldn't be even dealing with, and this isn't the first time we've heard this.
Well, you're absolutely right. It is a technicality because the gentleman that signed the letter of intent had passed away.
Well, that's a whole different technicality.
Right. It is, but
the 10-foot easement, I think we're holding ourselves up on to complete a project the right way. You know as well as I do, you shouldn't start a road and stop 3/4 of the way through it. That doesn't make sense because you're waiting on two people to give you 10 foot that you're not going to do nothing with. That's my 2 cents.
all right.
Can I interject something?
Yes, ma'am.
I had an individual who made contact with me as well, and I think that when they were moved off the PRP onto the new project, but when they signed, the property owners, when they signed the easement agreements, except there is one person who's a holdout, it was for the chip and seal, and I think that the concern of the individual that is resisting signing the easement agreement is because he feels that he would rather have, and I believe that what I'm understanding, because I've had a few other phone calls, that the chip and seal is more to what they were wanting than to lay 8 inches of asphalt, or the asphalt. And I think that Commissioner Smith probably knows what I'm referring to, and maybe Commissioner Holland. So I think we need to work on communicating with our constituents as well, and doing it in a way that is more diplomatic, and easy, not to schedule with someone and figure out what their schedule is, to show them what it is that you're wanting to do, or go out and show them the measurements, or to discuss the rationale between changing from a chip and seal to an asphalt paving. Those are kinds of things that we need to communicate. Staff needs to communicate with the individual property owners.
And Public Works said they were going to bid them both ways when they put these out for bids. So, but we can get a lot more miles done on chip seal roads than we can asphalt.
And on this particular project, that they're
but it needs to be done properly too. At the same time.
But the chip and seal doesn't last as long as the
asphalt.
I understand that.
Right, and it messes with our maintenance cycle at the shop.
Right.
So, but we're trying to get as many roads as we can done. So we'll take it a half a mile at a time.
Well, with all due respect, I mean, I know getting as many miles as possible done, I think that we need to make sure that they're done properly.
Right. And
at the same time, we have to have, quality should supersede quantity.
Yeah, we got a couple roads like that right now.
Yes. So that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
All right, we're up to 4 cents now. You got 2 cents, Joe?
I have 2 cents, yes.
Oh.
Good morning, Commissioners. Joe Herring Surveying, 315 North 5th. First off, welcome Commissioner KAAZ to the board. Didn't get a chance to do that last week. Couple things, Last year, we called it the year of the taxpayer. I think that could be argued if that truly was or not. I think we have some good things come out of last year, roads being one of them. I mean, we did make some great progress in getting some roads accomplished. We fought hard for an access management policy, which looked like it was going to really gear up some development within our county that met some opposition later. And the housing market was really good, but I think it's turning, and I think it's more important now than ever that we get the county and all the departments on board to be more user-friendly, to be ready to help people out, help the taxpayers, the people that wanted to put money in our county, get to where they want to be. You know, they either own the property or they buy the property and they want to invest and increase that. And I think we just need to be a little more user-friendly. And I hope we can get there within the next year, going to 5 commissioners. With that said, I've been contacted by the property owners and developers of a project that was coming up in front of the board in May of 29, I think it was, on a rezone of 2.5 acres off on 155th Street. They have asked that I come back up here and see if we can get that pushed back down to Planning Commission to be reheard. There were some issues during that meeting that sparked some concern about spot zoning. What is spot zoning? What isn't? Can road right-of-way be included in spot zoning? There are some ag preserve issues that they labeled everything ag preserve, yet in the same sentence said, you know, we need to talk with Baser and see about a high-density development. And then violations of regulations of KDHE and our county. 2.5 acres are allowed to have a septic. It doesn't state how many 2.5 acres you can have on a property and have septic. It just says 2.5 acres. So with that being said, they just want to see if we can take it down to Planning Commission. I know there were property owners that were here on the 29th that wanted to speak. Granted, they were in opposition of it, but they were upset they didn't get the chance to speak and express their concerns, which now has expanded, I think, into a bigger issue with growth management. But they would like to have this heard and be able to speak their, or put their 2 cents in on it as well.
For
or against
right.
the 2.5 acres versus high density, because, you know, if the growth management takes over.
This particular one, did it go through planning and zoning, or did you pull it off?
It went to Planning Commission, got a 9-0 negative vote denial.
Right.
Oh.
But we feel that there were some facts that were stated that were.
And when it came up here, you actually asked to have it pulled off the agenda.
Mayor Brewer called me
Right,
5
I
minutes
thought, I'm
before
thinking
that
it was
meeting
pulled
and
off.
asked me to
Yeah.
pull it. Yes, so we did, so we could talk to Mayor Brewer, and which they've done, and they've taken this, you know, about getting sewer to it and doing other things that are possibilities, and no agreement has been made. Nothing's been formally submitted by either party to each other on how to do that. But the property owners, the people that bought the property, want to have it reheard at the Planning Commission level and then let it come through the board properly and see what is said.
Have you approached the planning and zoning staff with that, Joe?
No, and that's what something I was going to bring up. Either I don't expect a motion today. Maybe it's an agenda item, or maybe meet with Mark and Jeff Joseph and the property owners and have a conversation.
I'm sure there's a process, just, like I said, you guys asked to have it pulled off last time.
Right.
So there's
Right,
a
'cause we
process
never
just to
heard
get
it.
to get it
That's
started
what-
again.
We never.
I just didn't get to that point yet. I was going to get
Okay.
there.
Oh, we never heard that.
And speaking of things that were brought up, Mark brought up expanding businesses or office space last week, and brought up a real good fact or an idea of remote offices outside of here where people can get to the commission a little easier. And there's some free office space, you know, public libraries and stuff. Is that something we can put out to the vote during the election?
Baser has a great meeting rooms at public libraries.
Right,
I've
I
used
believe
them.
that's free.
It is free. You go
Yes.
in and see Diana Weaver, and she'll get you right in a room. Baser's got a really user-friendly library. I use it, but I also had somebody from Baser come up here yesterday morning
Right.
and meet with me.
It goes both ways.
Either one. I offered to meet in Baser, or up, you know, he wanted to come to the courthouse.
Well, this office did expand up here quite a bit over the last year. I mean, we went from 6 to 10, so we have to have room. But
Well, we
if
have room up here now.
now you do, but come March,
We'll still have room.
Well, that's something that I'm not aware of. that-
We have the room right over here where the deputy county counselor has been moved. It's the lactation, it used to be the lactation room. There is 3 offices in that room. We could move the finance person over there. We could also move David Van Paris over there, and the 2 attorneys would be in this office. And then we would have enough room for all 5 commissioners to have an office.
Options I was not aware of. But that's something that, should this,
We wouldn't have to spend probably wouldn't have to spend a dime.
since the people voted to have 5 commissioners, can that be put out to the people on how to spend money to create these offices?
I think Doug has a
think
good
so.
point when he says,
I'll go anywhere to meet people.
well, that's what.
I can get more done over lunch than you can probably here,
Right.
you know.
So I think you got a good point, and I think Doug's got a good point. Where they could meet at a library, you could meet at a restaurant if you wanted to.
Well, actually, it was Mark's idea of remote meeting. I was just
Remote
stating
meetings?
remote office
Oh,
spaces,
remote office.
not all being here.
That would
to
be
be other
good.
places, so I was just in support of that.
Well,
I think that's a good idea.
Somebody clear down the 3rd district have to come up here to meet, where if they had a place down there and both parties were down there.
Yeah, I think it's a good
We
idea.
got the
something to
Linwood
look into.
Community Building.
Right.
And there's some other issues that I'm sure we're going to get to County Route 1 again. I'm sure we're going to get to the overall comp plan.
We are.
Looking forward to those discussions and how to resolve those issues. Thank
We
you.
are, but I'm glad you brought up access management, because that's kind of,
Yeah, it was-
these things what you're talking about is what we was wanting on access management, have a road cut in instead of lining a 155th up with a bunch of driveways. But the particular one you're talking about right now is zone 5 acres.
Zone 5.
And
yes.
then the one that got denied on County Road 2 was zone 2.5, I believe,
I
correct?
don't recall, but I think it was. I think it was
Yes.
properly zoned.
Right.
Had some road issues, I think.
Right, Metro and 158, that was a pretty good plan. It just didn't meet the road lengths or something, I believe.
Right.
I don't think it had through access. It was too long of a dead end.
Yeah, that's why I said the road length, yeah.
Yeah, it'd just be nice to have everybody on the same page, so as the development world will know, what can come through and what can't come through, and won't meet with such big opposition from other departments. But,
And I guess you're right. I mean, that needs to be looked into. If KDHE says 2.5 acres will support a septic system, I mean.
what's the limit? Yeah.
Well,
How
I
many-
don't think we have anything against 2.5 acres with septic systems. I think we have something against lagoons.
Well, yeah, no, you just passed a regulation, you can't have shared lagoons.
Right. That's what I'm
but
saying. There's
Two and a
no,
half
One of the
acres
main
will support a septic
objections
system.
was too many 2.5 acres, too many septics on a 55-acre tract. And I didn't know that there was a regulation that stated what's too many. And that's,
This is probably something we needed to get a work session
yes,
on.
I agree. And that's really where we probably need to get
We need to
to.
schedule a work
Yeah, let's
session.
schedule a work session.
So, sounds great to me.
Especially when the other commissioner gets on board, we probably ought to just schedule a general work session to kind of see what everybody's ideas are for the
Yeah, I'm
next
sure
coming year.
that some of the neighbors of this property would like to be involved in that work session, because,
Right, yeah, I've heard from a lot of them.
yeah, I've heard from a couple of them myself,
But-
so.
But also, like you said, the city of Basehor, they are notified when a subdivision is within their 3 miles, even though they
Yeah.
haven't established a urban growth management area yet.
Right.
They're still notified, I believe.
And that's a whole nother
Planning
topic, so.
That's a whole nother topic, that's right.
I was
Another
gonna
work
say,
session.
Now we're getting in another work session.
Another work session.
Appreciate your time.
All right, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Then we'll close public comment and move on to administrative business.
the one topic I had was just the PRP, which we already discussed, that it'll be on next week's agenda to find
Okay.
out where we are with all the signups and everything, give an update to the board, get direction from the board on how they want to proceed.
Okay. I've got one thing, and been going to the mental health task force meetings, and they're wanting to make it a coalition now. I'm hoping Vicky will take this all over now, and I won't have go anymore. It's kind of Vicky's area of expertise. They were looking at contracting with somebody to put something together for the legislature and for all the governing bodies that would participate funding for this. And I've got we have one person that submitted what they would charge to do that. I just wanted to pass this out to you. I'm sure you can get with Keith and some of the others to see which direction they want to go.
Yeah, I think that's something that probably needs more discussion.
Yes,
as far
yeah,
as
no,
which direction to take it.
I'm just
No,
sharing that with you.
thank
I
you.
don't want anything, any kind of emotion or anything.
Right,
We
no,
need
I'm
to
just
look-
saying, I do think it needs,
And I think it needs to be discussed with the other members, and hopefully you'll take that over.
sure. I can do
Thank you,
that.
I appreciate that.
When's the next meeting scheduled for?
It's not, you'll have to do that.
Okay.
That comes with responsibility.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
So, and the funding for this, it'd be something similar like the Group 27 or 27 committee, and how we fund that and how they lobby.
I don't even think the 27 committee's still going, though, is it?
Haven't been here for any money. They were last year.
I think a lot of people pulled out because of the Missouri wouldn't participate. They wouldn't participate in any roadways.
Missouri state law, I think, prohibits them from contributing to somebody like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's like, maybe could be funded like the 27 committee was funded.
Right.
Go to the cities, the schools, the county, and everybody pitch in a little, and you have and I'm not saying that's the one to go with. I'm just saying that was a first proposal we got. So hopefully Vicki can run with that and get it straightened out and bring us something back.
Okay, I'll do my best.
All right, well, thank you. Has everybody had a chance to look at the agenda and consent agenda and any of the minutes and anything? Any questions on anything?
Well, I guess I would like a question answered. We have a bill here from Hoffman Law, and does he not represent the commission?
He represents me personally.
That bill is from previous, Commissioner. I don't know if you remember, you had asked to pull off the law bills
Right.
a few weeks ago.
Right.
That's just those bills put back on here for your approval.
Okay, that's what I was wanting to
Yeah.
know, because I wanted to know where those bills were.
Those are the ones from previous.
So these are the bills from previous, which I held up.
Yes.
And I got those cleared up, so, okay. So I'm all right with it.
Okay.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
We have a motion on the floor.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is that a second?
A second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Voting?
Aye.
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 All right, motion carried. And now we have, consider a motion to approve resolution 2019-1, waiving the requirements from the KSA 751120A as they apply to the county of Leavenworth for the ended year of 2018.
The gap waiver that, this is a gap waiver that the board would need to sign in order to not follow the gap regulations. There's probably 4 counties in Kansas that are gap compliant. We ended being gap compliant back in 2009. At that time, we had discussion with our auditors. We had discussion with bond counsel. It does not hurt our rating. We have a AA plus rating, I believe, and it's just something that has to be signed each year.
Any questions on that?
Nope.
entertain a motion for Resolution 2019-1.
Motion to approve Resolution 2019-1.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion on the voting?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Janice. Commissioner, signature. Okay. We got any other presentations or discussion items before us?
We don't. I did, just following up on your work session request, I was planning on, after the new commissioner came on, I was kind of debating on whether we would have kind of a review of what the departments do and have them come in, given that we're going to have 2 more commissioners come on in March, but I think it's probably too long to wait for that, so we'll be scheduling towards the end of January, first part of February, for the departments to come in and just kind of give a quick presentation on what they do, what their budget is for the year, that kind of thing. We can schedule work sessions at that time on anything that the board has that are goals or objectives for the year.
Okay. Will that work with you, Commissioner-elect? Sure. Okay. We'll do that in January.
Yeah, it'll be the end of January, first part of February, just kind of work depending on schedules.
Okay. Okay. Everybody have anything else? And a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Aye.
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 All right.